A coup is underway in Sudan. The military head of the Sovereign Council declared a state of emergency and postponed the national elections. Large crowds have come out on the street to protest. This little girl has been sold by her family so that they can eat. The UN is warning that Afghanistan is becoming the world's biggest humanitarian crisis, with more than half the population going hungry. A former high-ranking Saudi intelligence official has accused the country's de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, of plotting to assassinate him. Saad al-Jabri called the prince a psychopath killer. A BBC investigation has revealed that the soft drinks giant Coca-Cola, the world's biggest plastic polluter, is struggling to meet its environmental promises.
The top general in Sudan announces that the military will run the country after his forces arrested the acting prime minister and other officials. Officials in Spain say a volcano on the island of La Palma is more active than ever as new lava flows spread. Chinese officials report 39 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the total to more than 100 cases over the past week. And in Tokyo, restaurants see an end to alcohol bans and restricted business hours as new COVID-19 cases decrease in the Japanese capital.
We begin in Japan, where most anti-coronavirus restrictions on restaurants and bars were lifted on Monday as new daily infections continue to drop across the country. In the western city of Osaka, the Tsutenkaku Tower was illuminated in green on Monday, signaling a go-ahead for nighttime dining. It is the first time in about 15 months that the people of Osaka have seen the tower in green. And in Tokyo, certified establishments can entertain customers after 9 p.m. 3 of the capital's neighboring prefectures also lifted most of their restrictions on restaurants and bars.
I don't know how many customers will come, but I've been looking forward to reopening. We will take thorough anti-infection measures.
But many remain cautious.
I am still worried. People tend to talk loudly when they drink, and that would scare me.
I won't stay out late. I will probably head home at around 9 or 10 p.m.
Businesses are also wary of holding gatherings. A recent survey shows that more than 70% of the companies in Japan say they will not hold year-end or New Year parties this winter. Health authorities across the country reported 153 new cases on Monday. This is the first time in nearly 16 months that the daily figure has fallen below 200. Almost 70% of the public has received 2 doses of COVID-19 vaccines, and over 90% of seniors have been fully inoculated. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is to meet a Taliban delegation during a visit to Qatar, scheduled for Monday and Tuesday, to discuss the situation in Afghanistan. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said China has consistently advocated Afghanistan's sound development through dialogue. He also reiterated that China will provide support to help Afghans overcome their difficulties. In July, Wang Yi held talks with senior Taliban officials. Observers say China apparently wants to increase its influence over Afghanistan as the United States and others wait to see what steps the Taliban interim government will take. In China, President Xi Jinping has stressed his country's decades-long cooperation with the United Nations. He also hinted strongly at Beijing's opposition to U.S. moves to forge alliances to encircle China. On Monday, Xi addressed a conference marking the 50th anniversary of what Beijing refers to as the restoration of the lawful seat of the People's Republic of China in the United Nations. The UN recognized the People's Republic of China on October 25, 1971. As a result, Taiwan's administration lost its place in the world body. In his speech, Xi said that for the past 50 years, the Chinese people have upheld the UN's authority and sanctity and practiced multilateralism. He noted that China has dispatched more than 50,000 personnel to UN peacekeeping operations and is the second largest financial contributor to the world body. Xi also said China will firmly oppose all forms of hegemony, power politics, unilateralism, and protectionism. He added that international rules must be set by the 193 UN member states acting in unison and not by individual countries or blocs. Meanwhile, the Chinese government has released its new policy to curb climate change. It includes plans to raise the use of non-fossil energy to over 80% by 2060. The government announced the change in a document on Sunday. It says the consumption of non-fossil energy sources, such as renewables and nuclear power, will reach about 25% by 2030. That's in line with President Xi's pledge to the UN last year that China will be carbon neutral by 2060. The government says it will strictly regulate emitters, such as steel makers and coal-fired power plants. It also promises to continue developing renewable energy projects. A new round of global climate talks is scheduled in Glasgow, Scotland, starting next Sunday. A major Australian telecom firm is partnering with the country's government to buy a South Pacific telco. The move is seen as countering China's influence in the region. Rosalind Debovalia in Bangkok has details.
Telstra said Monday the buyout of the subsidiary run by Jamaica-based Digicel Group is worth $1.6 billion, and Canberra will shoulder over 80% of the cost. Digicel Pacific covers several island nations, including Papua New Guinea, Nauru, Fiji, and Samoa. Telstra CEO called the deal a unique and very attractive commercial opportunity to boost our presence in the region. Australian Foreign Minister Marise Payne released a joint statement with two other ministers on the move. It says the deal reflects the government's commitment to support the development of secure and reliable infrastructure in the region. China has been raising its profile in the Pacific with massive financial assistance and investment. Australian media say the acquisition is aimed at keeping Beijing in check. Indonesia's president aims to give the regional economy a shot in the arm by reviving tourism. Joko Widodo says his country will welcome foreign tourists at sightseeing spots where COVID vaccination has progressed.
Indonesia will gradually open other areas once the fully vaccinated rate exceeds 70%.
Speaking via video address at Monday's ASEAN Business Forum, Joko said Indonesia has reopened the resort island of Bali, where the fully vaccinated rate tops 80%. Meanwhile, Malaysia's Prime Minister says his country will open its resort island of Langkawi to double-jabbed foreign tourists from countries approved by the government on November 15th. Domestic tourists have been allowed to visit the island since September. The Thai government will admit vaccinated visitors from over 40 countries without quarantine starting next Monday. In India's business hub of Mumbai, a popular delivery service brings home-cooked meals to hungry workers. But the pandemic has hit the Dabawala business hard, and its employees have been struggling. NHK World's Neha Sharma has more.
Before the pandemic, more than 5,000 Dabawalas delivered up to 200,000 lunch boxes to workplaces each day. The service is considered essential for the busy people of Mumbai who value the taste of home-cooked meals.
Here are your lunch boxes.
So this food is cooked at our home, and it is packed in this time. So it's very hot, and it is delivered very fresh.
But for the past year and a half, many of the Dabawala's customers have worked from home due to curfews. Orders for lunchbox deliveries have plunged, leaving 90% of the Dabawala workers unemployed. Ramchandra Kedari had been working as a Dabawala for over 15 years, delivering more than 30 lunches a day. When the pandemic hit, he had no choice but to look for new employment.
Delivering lunchboxes was worthwhile because my customers could fill their stomachs and I could earn money and feed my family.
Kedari lives with his wife and 4 children. He tried other jobs such as a security guard. But the $200 a month salary he used to make as a dabbawala dropped by a third.
I was proud of my delivery job. I want to do it again.
A popular local restaurant has come to the rescue. It used to rely on a major delivery company that charged high fees. But it has since switched to using dabbawala delivery staff as they know the fastest routes and are cheaper. Kedari jumped at the chance to get back on the road. He now delivers restaurant meals instead of lunch boxes.
It is really great. I'm relieved that the restaurant gave me the job.
I mean, in this phase of the pandemic, it was more about communities helping each other, you know. For the spirit of Mumbai, we will bounce back, and I'm sure they will bounce back as well.
With the restaurant planning to hire 50 more dabbawalas, Kedari is happy. He is providing a service that is appreciated by customers and that gives him great pride. Neha Sharma, NHK World, Mumbai.
And that wraps up our bulletin. I'm Rosalind Dabavalia in Bangkok.
Japan is seeing heavy rain and strong winds. Our meteorologist Sayaka Mori has a look at the forecast in world weather. Sayaka.
Hello there. An autumn storm is hammering parts of Japan with strong winds and heavy rainfall. Wakayama Prefecture saw nearly 130 millimeters of rain in a space of only 6 hours. The system will pound the Tokyo area into Tuesday morning. We're expecting very strong winds and heavy rainfall that could lead to flooding. The Fukushima area will likely see gusts of over 100 kilometers per hour. Meanwhile, we have a massive storm system near the Pacific Northwest. It rapidly intensified, so it's called the weather bomb cyclone. According to the Weather Network, it seems the pressure dropped to 942.5 hectopascals, making the lowest pressure ever observed off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. Because of strong winds, widespread power outages are occurring, and 2 people have been killed in the Seattle area because of a falling tree. And in fact, Northern California saw more than 100 millimeters of rain, making the record for the month of October. And heavy rain hit the wildfire-stricken area too. Take a look at this video. A powerful storm drenched wildfire-scarred California on Sunday, including Paradise, where the Camp Fire killed 85 people in 2018. Burn scars from wildfires are where the water tends to run off quicker. Multiple mudslides were already reported in some of the fire-hit areas. In San Francisco, winds of over 80 kilometers per hour were reported, and it toppled trees and caused power outages. We will continue to see strong winds and heavy rainfall. The mountains will see very heavy snowfall, maybe up to 1.2 meters of snowfall over the Sierra Nevada region. So stormy conditions will likely continue for the next several days across the western U.S. and parts of western Canada. That's it from me. Stay safe.